Males with the characteristics of both alphas and betas are known as sigmas. They aren't happy merely following orders, but they also don't feel comfortable taking the reins all the time. Sometimes, this makes them look impenetrable and impossible to get along with. Although sigmas are frequently misunderstood, there are good reasons why they rarely pay attention to you. 1. You're making things up way too much. Sigma is perplexed by the human propensity for hyperbole and fabrication. They never stop looking for the truth. They demand the whole truth and won't settle for any form of embellishment or deception. The inability to connect with others is a direct result of this. They can't fathom why others don't speak with more reason and logic. They can't wrap their heads around it. Communicating with them is like trying to talk to someone who is using a foreign language. They feel completely confused and annoyed by whatever the other person says. They, Sigma guys, often feel that they are the only people who are actually present in the world. Everyone else is in their own little world where they don't have to think. Sigmas don't want to waste their time or energy on hyperbole. They'd want to skip right to the meat of the discussion. They don't think it's necessary to be courteous by being vague or muddy in order to avoid conflict. There are occasions when male sigmas will choose to ignore you rather than be impolite. Even if they aren't interested in what you've got to say, they might not want to appear rude by cutting you off or interrupting you. They value politeness highly and would rather not deal with you than insult you. There is little chance of success in starting an argument with a male sigma. They have excellent control over their emotions and rarely become angry. It's easier for them to just ignore you than to get into a dispute with you. You will be ignored if you approach us about conflict. 2. They do not trust you. Sigmas are wary of anyone beyond their immediate circle. They have learned from their mistakes and will not make the same ones twice. Their extreme skepticism can make them appear unreliable, but in reality, they just don't believe anything at face value. While others may be easily persuaded by the words of others, Sigmas take time to evaluate the validity of such claims. They won't take your word for it, even if it's the truth. For people to believe it, they must experience it firsthand. They may come across as doubtful or questioning everything due to their skepticism. But that's just their survival technique kicking in. For fear of being exploited or injured once more, they are not going to relax their defenses. If they detect even a whiff of bogus claims, they will disregard you. When it comes to trusting someone, Sigmas require more time to get to know them. They must observe the person in a variety of settings to build trust in them. Once a Sigma learns to trust someone, they are committed for the long run. Nobody in their right mind would abandon ship at the first sign of trouble. When Sigma finally puts their faith in you, they will be incredibly dependable, but they will expect the same from you. No matter what happens, you can count on them to have your back. They may not appear to care, yet you can count on their support when you really need it. 3. They don't appear to notice that time has passed while they were deep in thought. Many Sigma guys suffer from a tendency towards self-reflection and isolation. It's just how they work, yet it can come across as cold to some. They're continually mulling things over and attempting to make sense of the world. Even though this may seem strange to some, it's essentially how they generate ideas and solutions to challenges. They are perpetually speculating on the possibilities and enhancements that exist. Their thoughts are constantly racing, and they are continuously looking for patterns. Sigmas are prone to missing your attempts at communication if you interrupt their deep thoughts. They are preoccupied with their own ideas to the point where they ignore everything else going on around them. Though it may annoy some, this has nothing to do with you personally. That's just the way their system works. If you're interacting with a Sigma and they seem distant, pausing to collect your thoughts is the best course of action. Obviously, they don't intend to act this way. It's just how their brains are wired. They are always analyzing and trying to make sense of the environment around them. Sigma males do not have the ability to just switch off their thoughts. They think all the time, even if they try to avoid it. 4. They don't care about your drama. Sigmas despise anything that adds drama or stress to their lives when it isn't necessary. They like things to be straightforward and easy, and they dislike arguments. This doesn't mean Sigmas can't handle conflict, but it does imply they prefer to do so without losing their cool. They don't see the purpose in worrying about something that's simple to resolve. Unfortunately, Sigma's propensity for solitude gives him a reputation for being indifferent and even rude to others around him. However, they have no interest in debating hypotheticals and drama. While others might relish being in the thick of things, Sigmas would much rather observe from the sidelines. They prefer to sit back and take stock of the situation before acting. That way, they can make better choices while appearing emotionally disengaged. To fully grasp everything, participation is not necessary. Because of this, individuals tend to tune out the noise and confusion going on around them. They won't waste their time or effort on it. Sigmas would rather be in the background than in the spotlight, where alpha males thrive. They prefer to take a backseat and let the show go on without them. This is not to imply that Sigma guys are timid. They aren't necessarily shy, but they don't like to be the focus of attention either. They have no problem blending into the background and prefer it that way. This is intentional, since it helps them achieve their goal of being unnoticed. 5. Too many uninterested individuals. As a result of their social status, Sigma males are frequently forced to interact with people who don't share their interests. They are frequently utterly bored at social or professional gatherings. For one thing, Sigmas are picky about who they let into their inner circle. They like to spend time solely with those they can hold a meaningful conversation with. They will grow easily bored if their minds aren't challenged in some way. For this reason, Sigma males gravitate toward more intimate settings. They wish to engage in substantive dialogue rather than superficial small talk. Stigmatized people may feel alone and alone. It's because they have an insatiable appetite for discovery. They are looking for acceptance and want to surround themselves with individuals who are more knowledgeable than they are. The issue is that the vast majority of people accept and even celebrate mediocrity. They are content with merely existing and make no effort to improve their lot in life. Most men in the Sigma male social group will never grasp this concept. They lack interest in routines that need constant repetition. 6. Your self-criticism is excessive. It's human nature to be quick to point out the faults in others while remaining oblivious to our own. Everyone knows at least one of these people. They are the ones who are always finding fault with others while refusing to acknowledge their own flaws. A Sigma man will simply ignore such a person since he finds them intolerable. They are only interested in arguing and have no desire to engage in meaningful discussions. Before passing judgment on others, we should examine our own actions. It's simple to find fault with the person in front of you, but it takes courage to take an honest look in the mirror and admit that you have your own issues. Once you've accomplished this, you'll see that not a single person is without faults. Every one of us is just a human being who's doing the best they can. 7. What you're doing isn't impressing them. Sigma guys, in general, are not readily impressed. They are picky, so you won't get their stamp of approval easily. It's true that they come off as cold or even judgmental because of this, but the truth is that they really don't care what other people think. Sigma males aren't impressed by material success or artificial beauty. They'd much prefer to be in the company of someone they can trust to be themselves. You might as well try to get water out of a stone if you try to win over a Sigma with your impressiveness. It's improbable at best. They aren't concerned with the finer or more superficial details of life. That's why it sometimes seems like they don't care about other people. But they see no reason to strive to impress someone they don't know. Yes, Sigma men can be impressed by others on occasion, but it is typically because they have accomplished something that the admiration is based on. Someone who has triumphed over difficulty or achieved something remarkable, for instance, may inspire a Sigma. People are more likely to look up to those who can motivate them than those who strive to impress them. To a Sigma guy, flattery and manipulation are transparent. They have an excellent nonsense detector and can identify a liar from a mile away. However, Sigmas are not readily duped by flattery or promises that turn out to be empty. They prefer to face the uncomfortable reality rather than be lied to. 8. They need to rest and get their energy back. A Sigma, a man's cave is a common place to visit when he needs some alone time. Being alone is essential to their functioning, even if it makes them appear aloof or even frigid. Whereas some people are extroverts who thrive when they're surrounded by others, Sigmas are actually the polar opposite. They feel stifled after being among other people for a while, as being alone is where they recharge. Because of this, Sigmas tend to hang out in the wild or at home. They require alone time to refocus and rejuvenate. They're not the types to have fun in a noisy club or pub. For them, nothing beats being alone in a peaceful setting where they can reflect. This need for solitude, which may be viewed negatively by others, is actually rather admirable. This is a great opportunity for introspection and the discovery of new goals. Their peak periods of innovation and output occur during these times. Sigmas are the people who get things done while everyone else is out having fun. Although recharge may sound strange to some, it is of paramount importance to Sigma males. They will rapidly grow overwhelmed and stressed if they don't have time to themselves. A Sigma doesn't merely relax and wait for their power to return while they recharge. This is a proactive step that contributes to their health. 9. They dislike having to explain themselves to others who don't understand. Sigmas aren't big on explaining their reasoning for anything. They have faith in who they are and what they can do and don't feel the need to seek validation from others. This can give the impression of arrogance or selfishness, but in reality, it's just that they don't share the average person's frequency range. While some people may need reassurance all the time, Sigmas are fine with being left alone. Those people have faith in their own judgment and don't look for outside approval. Others may misunderstand this confidence, but those with stigmas know they don't need to. This is why they tend to disregard the opinions of others, especially if they are negative. Some individuals have a hard time grasping the complexities of a Sigma male's personality. If you ask them to explain themselves, it's like talking to a brick wall. Not because Sigmas are inherently selfish, but because it is a waste of time and resources. It's sometimes better and easier to leave these folks alone. Sigma men don't require the approval of others, but that doesn't make them conceited or unpleasant. Even though they are polite and sympathetic, they will only act that way if it is genuine. They will avoid a person who is continually trying to bring them down or is otherwise negative.